Welcome back to Future Vehicles, the channel where we dive into the design, legacy, and unique traits of cars that made history. And today, we're taking a closer look at a classic that defined elegance and flair in a compact package, the 1970 Volkswagen Karmann Ghia. In this video, we're giving you a short but detailed review of its interior. While it may not be as flashy or tech-heavy as today's electric or autonomous rides, the Karmann Ghia's interior tells a story of restrained luxury, simplicity, and the timeless appeal of European craftsmanship. The first thing you notice as you step inside the 1970 Karmann Ghia is the feeling of intimacy. This isn't a big car, far from it, but what it lacks in size, it makes up for in character. The cabin wraps around you in a way that feels almost tailored. The doors are relatively thin, the roofline low, and the dashboard close. It's not claustrophobic, though. Instead, it feels personal, like slipping into a well-worn leather jacket. Everything is within reach, with a purpose-built logic that defines mid-century European automotive design. The dashboard is unmistakably vintage, with a clean and minimal layout. You get 3 large circular dials right in front of the driver. In the center sits the speedometer with fuel level and warning lights flanking it. It's all analog, of course. No digital screens or touch controls here. The simplicity is refreshing. The font on the gauges is elegant, legible, and very of the era, and there's a restrained use of chrome accents that hint at a bit of flair without going over the top. Materials throughout the interior reflect the car's dual nature. Affordable, yet refined. The dashboard is metal, usually painted to match the exterior of the car, which creates a seamless visual flow from outside to inside. It's not soft touch, it's not padded, but it looks good and feels durable. There's a strip of vinyl running across the dash, acting as a modest crash pad, but don't expect modern levels of safety cushioning. This was a different time, and safety standards hadn't yet caught up with styling. The steering wheel is large by modern standards, thin-rimmed, and made of hard plastic with a metal horn ring that adds a bit of sparkle. It's a simple 2-spoke design, elegant and functional. There's no power steering here, so the wheel gives you a direct, honest connection to the front tires. At low speeds, that means a bit of effort. At higher speeds, it rewards you with precise and predictable feedback. Nothing artificial about it. As for the seats, they're low, they're narrow, and they're upholstered in vinyl that was available in a range of colors to complement the car's exterior. They offer more support than you might expect from a car of this age. Side bolsters are modest, but the seats are surprisingly comfortable, especially for shorter drives. Long trips? Maybe not so much, unless you're a fan of old-school seating. Ergonomics. Still, for its era, the Karmann Ghia's seats were considered stylish and well-made. The stitching on the upholstery is simple, but clean, often with piping that matches or contrasts the main seat color. The seats don't have power adjustment, of course, but you can slide them forward and back, and adjust the seat backs with a basic lever system. The driving position is low and somewhat reclined, with your legs stretching out more horizontally than in most modern cars. This adds to the sporty feel, even though the Ghia was never a performance car in the traditional sense. Move to the center console. Well, actually, there isn't one. This was a time before bulky consoles and infotainment controls. Between the seats, you'll find a simple gear shifter and maybe an ashtray, depending on the model. The shifter itself is short and direct, with a mechanical feel that connects you to the engine in a very tactile way. You feel every shift, and that mechanical engagement is a big part of the Ghia's charm. The Karmann Ghia did come with a radio, though it was usually an optional feature. It's a small unit mounted in the center of the dash, typically AM only, with mechanical push buttons and a tuning dial. It won't blow you away with sound quality, but for its time it was all you needed for some background music while cruising the boulevard. Airflow is managed through basic vent sliders and small dashboard vents. There's no air conditioning in most models, though some were dealer installed later. Heat is controlled through lever-operated vents tied to the air-cooled engine's exhaust heat exchangers. It's not sophisticated and it doesn't heat up quickly, but it works eventually. If you're used to climate-controlled zoned systems, this will feel primitive. But again, it adds to the charm. You don't get in a Karmann Ghia expecting luxury. What you get is a driving experience rooted in simplicity. Storage inside the cabin is limited. There's a small glove box on the passenger side with a hinged metal door and a basic latch. It holds the owner's manual, maybe a pair of gloves, and that's about it. Door pockets are nearly non-existent. There might be a small tray under the dash or a netted pouch on the passenger footwell. It's minimalist, no doubt, but that minimalism is part of what makes the Ghia special. There's nothing extra, nothing excessive, just what you need to enjoy the drive. Rear seating is technically present, but in practice it's more like additional storage. The back seats are very small, and legroom is nearly non-existent unless the front seats are pushed all the way forward. That said, the rear seat area is often used for tossing in a jacket, bag, or groceries. You can fit a small person back there for a short trip, but it's definitely not intended for regular use. It's almost like a coupe with an emergency bench seat, an idea that would be echoed in many 2+2 sports cars that followed. The headliner is typically a perforated vinyl, white or off-white in color, with metal bows holding it taut across the roof. It adds a bit of brightness to the otherwise dark interior. Door panels are simple, flat vinyl-covered boards with a chrome window crank, an armrest, and maybe a pull strap. The details are understated but stylish, capturing that mid-century European look that never really goes out of style. One final note on the smell. Yes, the smell. Old air-cooled Volkswagens, including the Karmann Ghia, have a very distinctive interior scent. It's a mix of vinyl, metal, aged adhesives, and a hint of fuel or oil. To an enthusiast, it's instantly recognizable and completely nostalgic. It's not something you can recreate in a modern vehicle. It's the scent of history, of a machine built during a time when cars had personalities and everything wasn't filtered, insulated, and mass-produced to feel the same. So, what's the takeaway from this short interior review of the 1970 Volkswagen Karmann Ghia? It's a car that delivers far more style than space, more charm than comfort, and more honesty than extravagance. It was never about luxury or speed. It was about aesthetics, balance, and a connection between driver and machine. And despite its age, the interior still holds up in its own way, not because it's advanced or high-tech, but because it was thoughtfully designed, lovingly crafted, and built with a sense of identity that most modern cars have forgotten. If you ever get the chance to sit in one, or better yet, take one for a drive, you'll understand. The Karmann Ghia interior doesn't try to impress you. It invites you in, makes you a part of the story, and reminds you why people fell in love with driving in the first place. Thanks for watching Future Vehicles. If you enjoyed this interior review of the 1970 Volkswagen Karmann Ghia, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let us know in the comments what classic car interior you'd like us to explore next.